Evan Benveniste trying to turn and make a deep cut, but he couldn't stand up. There he is, though, deep, though. And he's back there with Will Wettengel, who has no trouble skying him. So
I think the competitive fight from the Thunderbirds early in this game to get the disc back twice now is great to see.
And this is exactly what you were talking about.
Yep.
It's exactly what you were talking about. That cut started before midfield.
Yep.
Charlie Vukovic had an opportunity to pick it up, send it into deep space, and that just didn't float at all.
Maybe less to plan cuts from Chicago.
A little disappointed there is Aiden Landis, who got a hand on that swing pass and made it flutter, but didn't keep it from its intended target. And now Van Dusen jacks one. DeMarais is there, and Reed Duncan trying. Now looking to get it off the sideline, and he finds Malachi Marshall. Marshall looks off his main handler and instead finds Lucas Storm, who floats one into the corner that John Mast runs down. Disc. He's got a stampede towards him of several cutters, and one of them is Repperman. Now Repperman sends it back to him. Atal better get there quick, and he does
There's
it.
That help D.
Yep. And they just didn't anticipate that, and here's a nice floaty one to Priest. Can Vukovic get there in time? He can't. Priest tracks it down. Kaminsky cutting into the end zone. Landis with him. Instead, it's sent back to Van Dusen. Van Dusen sends a blading forehand across the field to DeMarais, and what an unfortunate missed opportunity there, Nick. Him on the sideline, gets it off to Arters. Yep.
Some good help defense played there on the force. A lot of cutter defenders sharing defense, cutting each other off, or cutting offensive looks off.
And then this one gets across the field, and then a really nice throw from DeMarais, feathered up to a streaking. I believe that's Harris. Might not be, though. It could be number 61. Somebody get me on the replay, and that would be Dastrup. We could tell stories, but we won't. Instead, we'll tell the story unfolding in front of us. Priest whips this up, and will Anson Repperman get a block? He does, and it's a score, I believe. That Cercello managed to somehow toe that in. Anson extended to the very end of his fingers. The air traffic controller trying to deny a landing, and credits Benveniste. Has Marshall in front of him. Instead finds Storm. Johnson on the mark. Going deep is McMonagle, and we're going to get a same third huck with backside help, and that backside help from Priest is going to deny Joja a chance to catch it. There's a deep look to start off. And Joe Mulder with that speed nearly steals one from Cercello.
He played that incredibly well.
Yep. Paul Arters, this one pops up, and a nice throw to DeMarais. But the Thunderbirds, again, with an opportunity to maybe make something happen. And it doesn't take too many, but they are going to have to happen. And it shouldn't dissuade the Thunderbirds from believing that they can win this game, because they are getting open. And speaking of getting open, it's Jace Bruner versus McMonagle. Bruner forced to jump sooner than he wanted to against the taller man, and Benveniste finds McMonagle for the goal. So some of his teammates not here because they're at those nuptials. Putting one up to Benveniste is Mast. Benveniste had a line.
Set up any sort of bracket or help, you just go on somebody. And I think that surprised Mast and gave them a chance for a quick goal.
We're going to have another contest on a high disc. It's Bontemps versus the Storm. And the Storm blows in and pulls down over Sofiane Bontemps. A 7-9 shot from, I just caught a pass and then snapped one back to Cercello, but it didn't result in a lot of momentum. And boy, that one nearly snuck out of Cercello's hands. And wow, Priest manages to pull it down in front of a speeding Duncan, but that's the kind of throw that, it's behind Arters, but he catches up with it. This one popped over the top to DeMarais. A couple of blades get them out of that little jam. DeMarais shoots one over to Dastrup, and now it's a race to the corner, and it is caught inbounds by DeMarais for a goal. And once again, McMonagle streaking, and he does another one up the line to Malachi Marshall, and then Mast gets loose. Both of those guys shaking loose, and then he pops one up. Can Joja get it before Von Thompson? It's a replay of earlier, right, where McMonagle goes up and gets it. But a couple of handler cuts where they took advantage of Cello underneath, and seeking streaking deep was Dastrup. Rushing in. Boy, Reed Duncan's bound to get one of those eventually. Rollins now with DeMarais, and he bumps up against him, but Mulder is there, and then trailing the play was Priest. Working hard to get open against Landis. is Van Dusen. And then he's putting one up over the top. Will Charlie have a chance to make a bid? He does, but Demare catches it and then drops it by a prostrate Vukovic, who made a nice play at it, but man, you got to be perfect to beat that kid.
Yeah, that's something you probably are happy with forcing for the Thunderbirds. I will say I'm noticing Chicago become more and more.
They need something to do to break them out of it.
Yeah.
This one goes over the top to Storm, and Marshall is open deep, and Nickel doesn't hesitate. He throws it. Demare, of course, is there, and playing traffic cop, he says, nope, sorry. Oh, now the question is, how much time do you give this defensive squad to make a play? And it's Demare and Kendall, and Demare just takes it away. Just walks Kendall. Yeah, that was just a bad risk because of who he was throwing it deep against.
Yeah.
Repperman coming in on the mark.
Wrong look.
There's Demare. Kendall close again, but Demare pulls it off his shoe tops, and then Kaminsky with nobody on him. And there must have been a pick, but it wasn't called.
Well,
Maybe
no,
there was a pick. I'm not sure.
I think they went for the double team.
Oh, pulls it in. Now Mast cuts right in front of him, gets a flip, and then Mast fires one up to Benvenista. He's got nobody with him, and he one-hands it on the way into the end zone. Man, I'll tell you, that took some kishkas, my friend, as we say in Yiddish. That took some guts, because I would not have scooped that with my trailing hand, Nick Kazmarek. I'd have definitely wrapped both my hands around it if I could.
Honestly, if he was
Krisky on the mark. Now Rollins against Demare. And then going deep is Priest. It's fired up. Can Landis get to it?
He did.
Yes. Oh, how many times is Priest going to be the beneficiary of one of those? They say catch your blocks, but, you know, unless you're Plastic Man, there's no way you can do it. And then Rollins lays out behind him. I do not wish to jinx the guy. Finds Benvenista. Bontemps on him. And then cutting deep is Nichols. Jeff Weiss with them. This could be interesting. Two tall trees, and Weiss just rips it away from Nichols, and then they're off to the races in the other direction. I don't blame him for the huck, but it needed to be practically perfect against that particular defender. Speaking of practically perfect, Houston Murray puts it out in front of Weiss, and we have a rematch with Nichols pressuring him, and he gets enough pressure on him so that it falls incomplete in the corner. And you wonder when Landis is going to get a little bit desperate. He doesn't, though. He throws it up to Jimmy Toll. Toll puts it over the top. Can Benvenista catch up? And he does! And he does!
They needed
this time, he used both of his hands, and he caught up with it. Jimmy Toll making a big cut out of the back, turns around, sees Benvenista, bladed it more than he wanted to, but not more than Benvenista.
Can turn up the pressure.
This one sent out. Cercello catches it in front of Mulder, and then he sends it right up with a beautiful huck, and that's caught on the goal line by Dastrup, and then he sneaks it through to Priest. Krisky was there, got 7 seconds left. You might as well fire it off. Send it to the end zone, Rollins. He throws a forehand. It's a low liner. And deflected, and will be caught by Vukovic at the buzzer.
Could it be worth 3 points?
Sure. Wait, more than one guy touched it, right? 3 guys touched it. The thrower, and then Rollins and whoever touched it, and then finally Vukovic catches it. And yeah, here you can see that throw. And yep, couple of
1 point
unions.
per
so yeah, unfortunately. You can't, there's no 3 ball in ultimate.
But a game we should be very proud of.